Hi, in this video we're going to talk about oral tests and specifically just the melody playback or singback that you'll see in the ABRSM exams. I've got this book here. It's actually from ABRSM, so if you want to get this book to practice, it's probably a good idea. It does come with CDs if you want it, so you can listen to the CD. There are some answers in the back. So the melody playback or singback is the B test that's in the book. For some reason, as it goes to a higher grade, that becomes the A test, but it's the same thing. Basically, they're playing you a short melody, you have to sing it back from memory, and that's it. What they'll always do is they'll play you a key chord first. It's going to sound like this, right? And then they'll play you your starting note, which is the first note that you're going to sing. Then they'll count in 2 bars, and then they'll start playing, and you have to come in on the 3rd bar. So I'll just give you an example first so you kind of know what I mean. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. So you kind of see how I came in immediately on beat 1. Before we get into the counting though, let's just talk about how you're going to sing these notes. Some students are really good at singing. Some students maybe don't actually sing very much. So I find that some students have a little bit of issue with hearing the note on the piano and then trying to reproduce it with their voice. Maybe you're just not used to hearing piano very much. Maybe you're used to hearing the violin because you play violin. I find that that's a lot of my students because I only teach violin. So it's a good idea if you're having issues trying to reproduce the note that you hear on a piano because you're not used to it. Listen to some piano, try to sing it first, and then go along with these exercises. Because if you can't reproduce the note at all, it's going to be difficult to do all of it, right? So what I usually suggest for my students, you can look online. I will put a link below, the one that I usually send to my students. And it's just a piano note played once, and then you're singing up the scale. So actually, let me just play the track that I usually send my students, and then you can see how it works. La, 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 and so on. So you see how that kind of works? They're actually playing it as well when you're singing it, so that should help you kind of match the pitch a little bit better as well. And the more that you practice, the more that you'll be better at it. And that's a chromatic scale as well, which means that you're singing every single note. So you should be hitting every note that you're likely to sing in the exam. Once you kind of get used to singing it, maybe you can do some arpeggios, maybe you can do some scales that are a little bit more linked together. And you'll get used to singing, you'll get used to hearing it, and that's going to help you out. One thing to do as well is when you hear the note, don't just go la, because I find that some students do that. And they're actually just singing whatever note. They're not really aiming for it. Listen to the note, kind of hear it in your head. Try to sing what you hear in your head, and I think that's going to be a better result than just kind of singing whatever and hoping that you're going to hit it. So let me give you the example of the one we just did. This is your starting note. Right? Hear that? Sing it in your head. La. Obviously you can't see what I'm thinking, but the more that you practice that, I think the easier it will be. Once you get past that, try to work on the examples that are in the book, either using the CD, or I probably will make a video of similar stuff in the future that I haven't done it yet. But if you find that you're having trouble remembering the whole thing, maybe there was just too many notes all together at once, do it a little bit at a time. So again, going back to the example that we just did, the whole thing was this, right? Just do the first 2 notes first, like pause it, whatever. So that was la, la. And then once you got that, do the next 3 notes. La, la, la. And you can kind of practice doing those little jumps and adding on at the same time. And do that as many times as you need to. If you're kind of like, I don't know if I got that, just listen to it again. and then add another note. La, 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 la. You kind of get the idea. And as you go up in grade, what changes is it just gets longer and longer. We had 5 notes in grade 1, in grade 2 they have 6 notes, and so on. Now going back to coming in at the right time for the rhythm, you kind of saw me counting as I was listening to the first example, right? So as long as you know that's 2 bars, don't come in too early, because a lot of the times they have rests at the end, and sometimes students think that they should come in as soon as a person's done playing. But no, you should wait till the end of the bar and start at the beginning of the next bar. And if you keep counting, I think you'll get it. So let's look at the next example and you'll see what I mean. So, and then your starting note. Okay, and then they're going to count in. That's where you come in, right? So I'm just counting 1, 2, and then the beginning of the next bar is when you come in. So it's actually quite quick usually. Don't pause. And actually, that's better anyway, because if you pause too long, you're starting to forget what the notes are. But if you come in right away, you'll probably still remember, right? So let's just do that whole example and you kind of see again where I come in. I'll just go from the counting. So. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. So I left the click track there on that one, and you can hear where the beats land, right? So when you're doing your practice or during your exam, try to just keep the pulse of it. And I think, either you can sort of very surreptitiously clap or tap on your leg or something, or maybe tap your toe, anything that really helps you, or nod your head slightly, or even just keep it inside, right? I was always told to have something, it's beating in your heart basically. You're just going 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. When you get to grade 6 and 7, they start to add in other lines. Grades 1 to 5, it just kind of gets longer and longer. In grade 6, you have to listen to it and sing just the top line. In grade 7, you listen to it and sing just the bottom line. So it starts to get a little bit more difficult, but my advice for that would just be just listen to the line that you're supposed to sing, completely ignore the other one, as much as you can, right? So I'll give you an example. This is grade 6, so we're just listening to the top line. They'll always still play the key chord and then the starting note. Okay, starting note. It's very high. Then count in. Okay. La 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 la. So there are a lot of random notes, well, not random, but there are different notes on the bottom that are faster than the ones you're doing. Just completely ignore it. Don't listen to it. And also, what's usually helpful is the examiner will always play the one that you need louder. They're not really trying to trick you. I mean, it is kind of difficult to pick it out, but it will almost always be louder. So, use that to your advantage. And then for grade 7, it's the opposite. Now you're doing the lower part. So let's look at that too. Key chord. La 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 la. So you kind of see what I mean? The examiner will also play it twice when it's these longer phrases, so you don't need to remember it just from one try. I mean, I did it after one try, partly because I'm lazy, I didn't want to play it twice. But when you're practicing it, they will do it twice. Well, and in the exam, they'll do it twice. Also, just to say, I'm using the click track for this because I did it on my computer, but they will actually count out loud. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then start playing. Now, I'm sure some of you noticed that in the beginning I said melody playback or sing back, and I've really only talked about singing. That's partly because in grades 1, 2, and 3, they'll only ask you to sing. Starting in grade 4, they ask you would you prefer to sing it or play it. And I find that because most students have already been singing for the first 3 grades, they find it easier to just continue singing for the other ones. But if you want to play back, if you're like, my voice is changing, I'm a terrible singer, I hate singing, I already know how to play violin, I haven't made a video for that yet, but I did make one for the Canadian system. The principles of how to play by ear are the same in all countries because music's the same everywhere, right? I might make another video that's more specific to this in the future, but for now, I'll link that video in the description below, and then you can take a look at that and ask me any questions if you need to. And that's basically it. I think a lot of this you just have to practice if you're not used to it. Some of you may be actually naturally good at melody playbacks and singbacks, so that's great. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments.